From which place are you?
Subrat, we are not able to hear you. Again, I think maybe you need to connect through some different device, maybe mobile. You can use your mobile for the mic and you can use your laptop for the presentation.
Or the
Because last time we had a similar problem. So Gautam just connect his mobile with the same link, and then he uses his mobile for the mic only, and
Microphone.
laptop for the for the presentation. Anyhow, meanwhile, Subrat will connect through his mobile, and actually I have a request from Dudes that he has another meeting and he wanted to start, so I thought there will not be any problem. I can get the permission from Vilayath and Subrat, and
Yes.
we can start. So please, Dude, you can start.
Thank you, Bilaya. Okay, Mustafa, you have to allow me to share my
Yeah,
screen.
just give me
Okay.
1 second. Yeah, done. You can share your screen now.
Just for testing, can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes. But it is echoing. Not too much.
We can hear you, but I think you need to put your laptop on mute and you need to keep your mobile unmute.
Yes, it is. It is
Yeah.
like that right now.
Yeah, we can hear you now very clear.
Oh, you are clear. Very clear.
Good, great. Okay, so carry on then. I think I'm all set.
Yes, yes.
Mustafa,
Yes,
is everybody can see my screen now?
sure,
Yes.
sure.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I'm learning how to share my screen stuff. Mustafa, this is definitely one of the things I've learned from this program.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, as per request, I was supposed to present another topic, but I personally requested Mustafa that instead I'll be presenting a leading change topic that I am really very passionate about because of the fact that at the end of the day, application of concepts and strategies we learn from this program is definitely the differentiation or the concrete action that will ultimately bring in the envisioned results that we want to happen in our respective companies. And that is why I asked Mustafa that, okay, Mustafa, as one of our participants, I can just recall who was a participant, brought up the actual or practical applications of the concepts or strategies so far in the respective companies and how did that participant apply. This is definitely my personal take in as far as that concern. That point is concerned. Okay, so Leading Change is a book written by Mr. Carter. This is definitely available in business. This is one of the most sought after business books, so definitely we can Google as to the background in as far as this is concerned.
Dude, can you just put it in presentation mode because we will have a bigger picture in front of us.
Okay. Can you see my can you see my slides?
Yeah, we can see your slide, but we can see on both sides. There is, I think, there is a presentation mode. I cannot see where it is written on your presentation. Yeah, yeah,
That one.
yes,
You see it?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, that one. So that's okay?
absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much, Mustafa. The 8-stage process, I would like to believe that this is really very timely into consideration that nobody expected this pandemic to happen, and almost all of the organizations were massively affected in terms of the impact of this pandemic. And like what I mentioned, that my company is having about 300 branches all over the Philippines, and we are having about 7,000 employees. And my company has not been spared from the magnanimous impact of this pandemic. And it is really very, very challenging on my part in as far as how would I be able to make sure that in spite of this pandemic, we will still continue to live up to our vision, which is to be still profitable. So there have been a lot of initiatives that we did not do for the longest time because obviously I would like to believe that everybody also in this class is timer in terms of experiencing a pandemic, as it happens only every 100 years. So this is what we have been doing from the lockdown up until we were allowed to resume to operations last May. Okay, as I mentioned that the book is written by Mr. John Cutter. So if I will not be able to explain profoundly, and there are vague concepts, you may research further via online, or you will ask me. Okay, there are 8 stages in as far as leading a major change in an organization for it to be able to continue to live up to its vision. And this 8-stage process are divided into 3. We have this creating conditions for change. We have introducing new practices, and we have this maintaining the momentum. And under the first group, we have 4 stages. The first stage is establishing sense of urgency, while as time is really of essence. In fact, in one of our exercises, specifically the 4 V's, Mustafa, I said there that of the V's that we discussed, I said that velocity is the most important. And you even commented on that one, that yes, I have to agree with you that velocity is really very important, but taking into consideration the importance also of the source of the data, it is also worth looking into the veracity of the data, right? You said that in your comment, Mustafa, and I said that I agreed with your comment. But my take there is really, well, you have to take into consideration that after verifying that the data, the source of the data is correct, we have to act ASAP, as time really is of essence. And I agree with you, Mustafa, that it is pointless for us to act ASAP is if, to begin with, the data was not correct. Okay, so in my company, this, well, according to the book, it is really very important for us to have to establish the sense of urgency amongst our people, and it takes speed in making a decision, making a right decision. Number 2, creating the guiding coalition. We have 7,000 employees all over the Philippines. If you will not be able to create a coalition, you would not be successful in whatever initiative that you would want your people to do for you to be able to mitigate the impact of this pandemic. Number 3, developing a vision and strategy. Well, vision, I'm really very fascinated about the power of the vision, because even for your personal ambition, you have to create something in your mind that is really very clear that 5 years from now, you have to be like this. And in fact, because of my personal vision, I signed up for this class because I really want to be a global executive. When Juliet was really passionate about becoming a global strategic leader, I can really feel also that, yes, we have the same vision, because definitely were it not for it, we would not be able to sign up for this one. Number 4, communicate the change vision. It is really very important for us to take the lead in whatever initiatives that our respective companies would want to take on, especially during this pandemic, that there are lots of discombobulations in as far as the mantra of our people. It takes really a a very compelling communication skills for you still to be as effective leader as you used to be prior to the pandemic. Now, on the group 2, introducing new practices, definitely Mustafa and the rest of the guys there, I did not expect that on the onset of this program, we would have this platform because everybody was so looking forward to seeing each other face to face in Cambridge for the meet and greet. But unfortunately, we ended up having our meet up on platform online. And I'm not really used to this one, right? Even in as far as holding meetings with my people, I really would want it face to face. Especially one of the timeless tenets, culture of Filipino people, we're so personal. We want really to see people face to face and see reactions. Well, but in this kind of setup, you have to be very positive that you will still be able to deliver the objective of the company, or else the future of your employees doesn't lie in somebody else's hand, it lies in your hands. So under this group, we have this empowering broad-based action. You have to trust your people. I've been trusting my managers. I have to trust them even more this time, even if I don't see them face to face. I have to trust them based on the previous performance that my people delivered prior to this pandemic. Under this second group as well, generating short-term wins. Well, as a leader, I would like to believe that all of you also would agree with me that it is our job to give hope to our people that we would be able, for as long as we want, we will stand as one team, we would be able to surpass this problem. Right? And, I'm running a business in a country that has 7,000 islands all over the Philippines. So in terms of geographical location, we are not as composed and solid as compared to your countries. So it takes a lot of motivation for you also to be able to give motivation to your people. And that is definitely one of the things that I have been doing for me to inspire and give hope to our people that we will still be able to collect from our customers in spite of the impact of this pandemic. I mentioned that we are into financing business, and we have about 1 million customers all over the Philippines. It is really very difficult for you to impose collections knowing that most of your customers were also adversely affected by this pandemic, right? So on the last group, we have this maintaining the momentum, and the book clearly stated that under this group, there are 2 steps, and these are consolidating gains and producing more change, and lastly, anchoring new practices in the culture. For the past 23 years, whatever competitive advantages the company has built are gone and vanished in just few months. And everybody now is on equal footing. It is really very important for us to be as even more solid, just for us to make sure that our company will still be able to deliver what my company intends to achieve. Okay? You have questions so far?
No, I think just to finish, we do have some questions, but we just want you to finish, then we will come to the question. Yeah.
Okay. I'm done. Questions?
Yeah, you're done. I
apologize, I'm late.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay, I have to stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
The point what you are telling
Oh,
about
Juliet.
Juliet.
Nice to see you, my
Yes.
friend.
Hello, sorry I'm late.
It's all right. Nice to see you. I've read your messages.
Here then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, you're saying about because of the pandemic now, almost all companies have come in almost equal
Yes.
equal platform. Why do you think so? Because you have 23 years of experience. Will you not be able to give an edge over others?
Okay. We always, in doing our analysis, would always look into our macroeconomic environments. Well, even if we have the solid and stable form of government, but right now the government also is helpless to ramp up our economy because of budget. So in spite of the fact that we are close to our customers, we've been creating a lot of, we've been keeping our customers for the longest time. But if our customers do not have money to pay, that competitive advantage is simply gone.
Okay.
Okay.
Right? So
Mhm.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, that's true. But my question is basically, what was the biggest challenge that you face when you implemented the current change that in your company, especially for this electronic payment system, as you said previously that you have introduced now. Before you were not having the e-commerce channel in your company. So what was the
yes,
biggest problem that you face to implement this new change in your company?
the bigger the buy-ins, the trust and confidence of our people.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, without the support of our people, even if the idea of converting our customers instead of our employees will go to the respective houses and collect, we will encourage our customers to pay via our online platform. Who will be there to explain to our customers? So it is really very important that our people will be in the first place convinced that yes, we need this. And there is also a threat on the part of the customer because as they are doing this, they have this fear of losing their job, that they are redundant already. There is no need for them to retain in as far as the company is concerned because there is this online platform in such a way that our customers will pay instead of giving the money to our employees. So that's it. That was the biggest concern.
So then how did you overcome this issue? Because
By making
definitely
sure,
there is a concern for the employees, especially an employee whose his job is only to go and collect the money and bring it to office. Now you have the online platform and the people are paying online. So he either he has lost his already job or he has a very high fear that he will lose his job. So how did you overcome this problem?
we converted, we recalibrated the KRAs of these employees that were affected. They used to be collecting. We we use these employees to look for new customers in channels that we did not have in the past. Like for example, before there were only 8 types of customers that our company would be interested in. The farmers, the small business men, the institutional accounts, not more of the agri. But because of the fact that Philippines is a tropical country, we instead capitalize on the presence of our employees. We choose to collect to market to those not customers in the past, but potential customers because their industries were not affected by this pandemic, such as agri,
Mhm.
such as fishing. So those were the alternatives that we use. And of course, we've shown to our employees that yes, we did not retrench anyone. Just be with us because somehow we can take advantage of this pandemic by making sure that we are recalibrating our activities and our value chain and making our company eventually even more efficient.
Mhm.
So far, we're doing good.
But as part of you, if you look at this as part of the global change that happened because of this pandemic, there are millions of people lost their jobs. So, did you
Yes.
release some resources because of this pandemic in your company, and you ensure to retain all your employees?
Okay. We ensured that we retain all our employees. Be- We just adjusted the working hours on the initial um, stages when our companies were our branches were allowed to open. We adjusted the working hours so that we would be able to accommodate all our employees. And as we are also gaining, establishing more confidence on the part of our customers to go to our office and potential customers to inquire for motorcycles. But Musapa, our business is motorcycles. During the lockdown, in the absence of mass transport, the use of motorcycle in the Philippines, taking into consideration that we are so cluttered in terms of geographical location, motorcycle has never been that high in terms of usage. So everybody was using motorcycle. Those who did not motorcycle during the lockdown was encouraged to buy motorcycles. That is why we shifted from collection. Instead of focusing on collection, they were focusing on sales because there was this surge in the need of motorcycles. And motorcycles, when lockdown was still in force, the prices of gasoline went down, epic low. And that even encouraged
People to buy.
potential buyers of motorcycles to buy motorcycle. And because of the physical distancing, motorcycle is perceived to be the safest in terms of as
Yeah.
mode of transport, because you ride the motorcycle all by yourself, right? So you are safe. That's it.
And you're not in a confined place, as well as you're not in a public transport wherein more people are there. That's
Yes.
something, yes, safer in the sense they
Yes.
are independently going. So that way, yes, there was lot of bit of demand in India as
Yes.
well in the sale of motorcycles.
Yeah, that's of course, India is one of our suppliers, right?
Yes,
The Bajaj is really very popular in the Philippines, and for several times, I've been invited by the president of Bajaj to visit India,
yeah.
right?
Thank you, dude.
Thank you, Rude. If
Well,
anyone has
welcome.
a question, please go ahead, and then we'll move to the next topic.
Thank you very much, guys. Mustafa, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Nice seeing you guys again.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will
So,
share my screen, Mustafa.
yes. Vilayath Ali, please proceed. You can share your
Thank
screen.
you. Thank you, Mustafa.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mustafa, can you hear me now?
Yes, absolutely. It's fine.
Okay, so am I supposed to present or who's next?
Vilayat Ali will. Actually, we were having Dude at the last, but he requested that he has another meeting, and so if he can present first, so we just gave him the chance as first, and
Yes.
now we'll
Okay, no
proceed with the
problem.
normal
So
thing.
because my phone's running out of battery, I'm outside, so I'll just go and connect it somehow. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Mine, yeah, I will run through my presentation maybe in a
Please.
quicker fashion so that we can
No,
accommodate.
you can take your full time, please. We want to learn.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
Can you see my screen?
sure, absolutely.
So let me welcome you all for a small presentation about my company, which is called ABS Electron Engineers Private Limited. And I'm also going to talk about how to modify the existing HUs to combat COVID, virus and germs and other microbes. So let me start. I would like to start my presentation with this quote from Steve Jobs. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. I'm sure we all agree and we all want to be in this position of a leader in our respective industries and positions. Where are we? So my company, overall experience, we have about 24 years now in environmental control. My next slide talks about a brief description. It is started in the year 1996 by myself and with my two friends. And now we are a part of Fujitsu General Limited, Japan Group. And shortly our name will be also be changed as ABS Fujitsu General Private Limited. We have offices in Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, and Kolkata. Basically, we are a solution provider for mechanical and electrical services. We have expertise in HVAC, HVAC system, electrical system, low voltage. This is where the machine learning and other things will come. This is called building management system. And we are expertise in firefighting, fire detection system, and PA is public address system. All this comes under services. And our core strengths being customer focus, dedication, in-house design, project management, of course, after sales service. And all this we do with a proper scientific approach. One-stop solution provider for all MEP projects. This is all what we do. We design and plan, we execute projects, of course, with quality and safety, and we have after-sales service also. This is the service offered from our organization. Geographically, this is how we are located. Basically, we started from here. This is my hometown, Bangalore, Karnataka. From here, we moved to Chennai, then Hyderabad, then Mumbai, then Kolkata. Now we have established offices in these places. Also, we have active presence in this many states of India. Having said that, we have executed projects in abroad as well. We have executed projects in Mozambique, in Africa, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bangladesh. Of course, we have around 400 qualified employees. These 400 employees includes right from marketing, then we have what we call planning and designing, then procurement, project engineers, service technicians. This is my team. That was about my company so far. Now I'm going to my actual subject with our existing, what enhancements are required to do in your HVAC system. So first of all, we need to improve our indoor air quality, which by doing that, it will be a safe environment for our employees to work and to maintain PM25 criteria. This PM25, just for our idea to get what is PM2.5, I would like to open one attachment. I think attachment won't get opened, Mustafa, from here.
Yeah, whatever it is on your PC, whatever you will open.
Yeah. It was okay. It's opening now.
Yeah.
Basically, this PM 2.5 criteria is 2.5 microns. The microbes, what you see here, these are so small. This is the single hair strand of a human being, which is about 70 microns. What we are talking about is 2.5 microns. So just to get a feeler about how small the microorganisms are, I just wanted to show this slide. So we have something called as ISHWE, which is our industry body, which is expands into Indian Society for Heating, Refrigeration, Air Conditioning Engineers. They have recommendations like this. In the COVID time, rather how to modify our AHUs. So there's recommendations are taken from them, of course. They say provide MERV 13 or higher filter fitted on air handling units. Fresh air is very, very important. Basically, the confined place or the buildings inside are more polluted than outside air. So normally when you have the air conditioners running, you might have observed there will be a supply air and return air. The return air which goes back to the AHU has to be blended with the fresh air. Only then the VOCs can be diluted. Fresh airs, what we can say is outside air is better than inside air. So this is what they recommend. Minimum of 5 CFM per person per square feet is required. So this has to be taken care in designing as well as in the existing building to maintain the indoor air quality. We also suggest to install a ultraviolet germicidal irradiation UVGI in a ducted units and AHUs to keep the coils continuously clean and disinfected. The recommendation goes further on how to operate. This is the operating guidelines. I will just run through. I would like to emphasize more on this point. Okay, here the air filters must be kept clean, provide adequate ventilation, which I told you, very, very important. Inspect and clean indoor unit coils. See, set room temperature between 24 to 30 degrees centigrade. This is very, very important. There have been a lot of studies conducted on these viruses, and it was found that the lower temperatures will allow the virus will thrive in low temperatures. So it is better to maintain temperature between 24 degree to 30 degrees centigrade. By then, we are maintaining the humidity also. Even the humidity is also very important factor in thermal, what do you say, in a thermal comfort condition. 40% to 70%, it should be between 40 to 70% RH, relative humidity.
But we heard that it is, if the temperature is high, it will.
Yeah, you are lucky, Mustafa. That way, the higher the temperature, the better it is. That is what our institute also recommends. So normally you might have seen people try to keep very low temperature between 16 degree, 18 degree, which is not recommended in these times. It is better to set your room temperature between 25 to 30 degrees centigrade. Therein, we are maintaining the relative humidity also, because damp places also give, it's a breeding ground for germs and bacteria and other things. There will be something called as heat recovery wheel, which is not recommended. It has to be put off basically to avoid cross contamination. And toilet and kitchen exhaust fans must be kept in operating mode. Yeah. What we do basically in this COVID time, as Dude also explained, we are all going through a difficult times, and we also have found a new projects other than this. This is the projects what we are doing is retrofit. Wherein we decide, we understand their HVAC system, their application and space availability. Then we understand their customer needs. Then we do that engineering solution. This is the most promising area for me, because here we make the proposing solution to customer. Of course, nothing comes free. Then we have in-house project execution team. Then we do testing and commissioning and hand over for beneficial use. Of course, then we take up after sales service.
So this is all you are doing in your facility, or it is outside?
Yes. Yeah, this is all outside. See, basically, since the HUs or air handling equipments are in the client place, that is the reason, if you see my slide, our team, our engineers will visit this facility, understand what they are having as of now. That was pre-COVID, and what air handling units they had, what system they had, and how this is to be modified for to combat COVID now. So it is possible, and we have studies also, and I'm doing one project, a major project in Mumbai and Bangalore. This bank has come forward to do that first. This is a bank called ICICI Bank. They have branches all over India, but of course they have come out with the two branches for us, Mumbai and Bangalore. They are changing 125 air handling units with this arrangement called MERV 13, MERV 14, MERV 17, HEPA filter, PCO, and with UVGI. This PCO is nothing but photocatalytic oxidization, which also is a filter. I will just take you there. This is how it works. It deactivates, it eliminates, and it reduces. So this is also one of the filter with pre-filter, fine filter, then PCO, then UVGI, then the cooling coil. Then I have a HU diagram which talks about this. This many filters and this many ultraviolet light and other things we have to put into AHU to make it safe. See, I will explain. Yeah, this is where the air gets sucked into AHU. You may be all knowing air handling units in all your offices. You may have come across a room called AHU room. In that AHU room, there's nothing big. This is the box. What will be there? Basically, there will be a cooling coil. The purpose of air handling unit is to cool the air and throw it back. But in these COVID times, what we have come out with a solution that in the suction side, we need this pre-filter, fine filter, then this PCO, photocatalytic oxidization, what I talked about, then UVGI, then cooling coil, and this is very important suction called fresh air. This fresh air will get mixed here, then there will be a fan, which we'll call EC fan. This is sucking here, but of course there'll be a filter again, and this is called HEPA filter, which can have an efficiency of 99.995 and up to 0.3 microns it can filter. And this is the outlet. From here it gets distributed to all your office places, cabins, conferences rooms, and other places. And once the air passes with all these filtrations, it is free from all germs, viruses, molds, odor, everything is taken care here. And this is what I added one slide in the nth moment. I thought, let me talk about some fresh air also. What we do, breathing is so important. The breath is also vitally important. So we breathe about 20,000 times a day. About 11,000 liters of air passes through our airways every single day. And good quality air promotes super physical health, increased mental capacity, and a calm spirit. It strengthens the immune system, keeps diseases at bay, and promote youthfulness and longevity. So thank you. Hope I've covered as you all expected. I thank you. This time I wanted to make in all this because we have various nationalities, right from Shukran to I think there is Japanese. Arigatou gozaimasu. So that ends my presentation, Mustafa. I should stop sharing now.
I think Mustafa is busy. So thanks, Vilayath. Yeah. So yeah.
Both I got an opportunity to talk a bit about my company as well as about what are we doing other than our regular work.
Yes. That's good actually. The company I work for is the largest producer of air conditioners in the world.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So and we have joint ventures with Carrier across the world, even in India. So we have Carrier Media India, and also Toshiba, right? So acquired Toshiba in 2016. So yeah, so it's quite interesting. I could understand, relate to what you were saying there.
I have somebody from similar industry.
Yes. Thank you anyway for your sharing. Mustafa, I think Vilayath is finished. So if you if you have any questions, address here, and then
I think the question that I was trying to ask when Vilayath was explaining it, because it is little away from our field, and what about if you are going to make the whole new system, because this is you are talking about to modifying the existing, and especially when you are modifying the existing, the current system is not developed with those changes, so it is not easy to make the changes in the current system and properly it will be incorporated. There are the challenges to modify the system, and then that system will be working as per the the new requirement. So how you are covering this part?
I will let me explain. Mustafa, there are two things basically. See, the cooling part, the chiller and other things won't get disturbed. Basically, what we are trying to cover here in air handling unit. So your existing air handling unit has to be enhanced, or it has to be modified. Otherwise, otherwise, if you want everything to be put new, you can always do it. But your cooling part, there are two parts of air conditioning. One is the cooling side, the other one is air side. What we are trying to address is on air side. Why do we want to touch the cooling part? Cooling part can be as intact as it is. Only the air side we need to address now.
Okay. Okay.
So you can always do everything new,
Yeah.
but not required.
Okay, so it would be, in that case, it would be economical even. You don't need to change much. Yeah.
The HU what I showed in a diagram, it's a bit expensive because this many filters requires regular maintenance. It has to be replaced in 3 months. Otherwise, that type of microns, the smallest 0.3 micron level filtration will cannot be cleaned and put back. It has to be replaced.
Yeah.
So it comes with a cost. So client also will think twice because ICICI Bank is a big bank. They could afford 125 HUs they are changing.
So you got a good project in that case.
Yeah, very true. This is one of the big project in this time. With our regular job, we got this also.
Yeah, great.
By showing this, I may get some more. That is the thing.
Okay, so we can move now with Subrat. Subrat, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hi. Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you, Vilayath. So appreciate all the sharings today. The task assigned by Mustafa to me was to do this. This is, I think, the fourth section of our cohort, and these are the two areas I'm going to sort of address today. We'll navigate through the strategy review. So basically, it's going to be more to do with experimentation. But what I have also done is how A/B testing works and collected information from outside. So it's better to relate. So I've done two things. I've done the revision of what our Professor Oriaplis took on the class, and then took taken an outside view on A/B testing and related disciplines. So basically on experimentation, we basically start. If you remember, the first few pages in the professor's slides were about those plants, right, where he demonstrated what is experimentation. If you wanted to experiment on two different plants with two different fertilizers, so that's how we do the scientific experiments. You would apply the fertilizer to the two different plants and see where is the progress. One grows faster, one doesn't. But that's the traditional way of doing experimentation. So basically, what we try to do in any experiment at a very core level, we try to articulate a question. What is the question? What is the problem we want to solve? And then collect data to address that question, and then analyze the data to make recommendation. But then with evolution of that, we had what you call as the gold standard, or the A/B testing method, which is about randomized controlled trials, which is that we try to eliminate the variable coming from other factors, right? The noise. So if you say you want to separate the signal from the noise to test the intervention. So the intervention that we intended, right? So we do this by applying our intervention to the random sample, and we randomize it so that there's equivalence. While we maintain a control sample. So we control the original state in an equivalent random environment to net off the impact from other interventions, which play equivalently on both samples. So that's the whole idea of having a gold standard, which is or the randomized controlled trials, which what they call as A/B testing. I'll go a little bit deeper and explain how the professor explained to us. So these are some clips from our slides from what was presented to us. So randomized control experiment is basically about randomization and about control, right? So randomization is basically maintaining a random sample in each group. Why do we maintain a random sample? We basically try to keep the same conditions. And the external or internal or whatever factors are playing on that particular sample should be playing in the same manner, so that whatever intervention we create is the only effect that is isolated. So, for instance, you see this, and the control is about basically keeping the original state. So, for instance, you see on the right side, if we wanted to check what is the impact of a sign up button on the top of the page versus on the bottom of the page, So what we are basically doing is we are comparing our current state is the button being on the sign up button being on the top of the page, and we maintain that current state, and then we also and we run it through a random sample of consumers who will then click or sign up based on the current state. And at the same time, a similar sample, which is from the same population, is also being tested for the bottom of the page signups. And what was really said, if you recollect, is that, for instance, there might be consumers who sign up from a laptop or a computer device, or somebody could sign up from a mobile or from any other devices, and that gets leveled down because the same effect happening for both the samples, So sample A and sample B. So now the only effect, the only intervention we are providing is that we are changing the sign up button from top to bottom, and therefore the result we are getting is isolated, saying that because of the sign up button going either on the top or on the bottom, there is more signups on the website. This kind of simple process, but there were a few key imperatives, as you can say, as experimentation imperatives. Basically, for instance, the first imperative is we should try and answer a very specific question, because if you do not have if you're not able to articulate the hypothesis in the right way, then you will try to answer the wrong question. And for instance, it should be articulated, and it should be specific from the point of view of a hypothesis. So, for instance, it'll be wrong to ask, is advertising worth the cost? Right? It's a very open-ended question. It has very broad implications, or it's not measurable, for instance. So, what was said is, for instance, does the premium fee of advertising lead to more reservations? If you remember, we spoke about this particular hotel example where premium fee would have led to either more reservations or same or less, right? So that's about the top hotel case study. The second imperative was about holding a big hammer. So it's basically, big hammer is about solving a crucial problem, have a large impact on your business. So basically, how important is it, to solve that problem? And third is about knowing the variable of business. Here, the subject that was discussed was we need to have a clarity of what we are trying to measure and why we are trying to measure that, and we should not do improvements later on, right? So if you're trying an X subject, and then after you see the result doesn't fit the narrative, and then you go and say, I was trying to measure something else, or this is not right, is not fair, or it's not a fair assumption. Example was not, or the way we did conducted the study enough. Those kind of things should be avoided, because we should set the ground rules in advance before experimentation, rather than having. And about the feasibility, it was about basically you should have a big enough sample, and you should generally know what is going to be the cost of conducting such a study. Just to compromise and say, I'm going to, a sample size will give you perhaps sometimes will give you a negative impact on what you study. The last two are about making experimentation work. So it was a lot to do with, are you willing to on the result of the experiment. For instance, high hopes that your hypothesis will turn true, but it turns negative. Are you going to stop acting that particular strategic work project immediately, or are you going to sort of status quo as so that's something which is which I crucial, because as we work in our companies, we have these directions which we want to anyway pursue and we strongly believe in. Now, experimentation is a scientific process, and if really you're able to see that this is not the right route to follow. So here we all about the Google's experimentation process and how they reward their employees for going against for doing experiments which negative hypothesis, and therefore they had to scrap a project, which should be the right way to go, because we're talking about objectivity and experimentation as a learning process, and the spirit of how one needs to take experimentation is learning culture. It should be a learning process for the organization, and there are a lot of examples. How Amazon uses experimentation, key imperative inside the organization, and so forth. Summarize, it's all about the narrow scope, which is articulating the question, the need for a big hammer, which would be basically the importance of that particular experiment that you want to conduct, and clear metrics, using a proper and a rigorous way, which would be about the sample sizes and the cost imperative. You should be willing to invest, otherwise you might go wrong. Involve the key stakeholders, which was, if I remember, there was an example of some legal firm where they didn't take permission, they did not involve the key stakeholders, and later on the CEO of the company came and said that it might sound unethical if we went that route and collecting customers' data and then sort of using it to their advantage, and having a culture of learning, right? So that was that was a brief summary of our coursework. One more aspect that I just wanted to add, which was also it was the difference between the dependent variable and the independent variable. For instance, in case of Top Hotel, the independent variable, which is design, so you can use different designs to derive the output on the reservations, which is a dependent variable, right? So that's and here's a little bit example on. So this is the example on Top Hotel, for instance. So what they did is this is an example of experimentation. So they applied 3 treatments, right? Treatment 0 is no premium paid, which means status quo. There's nothing. So this is basically a control sample. Treatment 1 is premium paid with the current design, and treatment 2 is premium paid with new design, right? So so if there was, so you're now comparing premium paid with current design to no premium paid, and premium paid with new design to no premium paid, and that's how you're evaluating. Another aspect dimension they took was they took a dimension of whether it's a chain hotel or it's an independent hotel. So the output was, as you can see here. So in the no premium case, if they did not sell that service, the page views are 620, calls 44, and reservation 45.9. In current design, the page views go up significantly, right? 742, which is 20% up. But as we say in marketing language, maybe the engagement was not high enough, or the motivation to go to reservations was not high enough. So this is 46, which is 0% up. So really the reservations didn't go up, so no real advantage. In the new design, even though the page views didn't go up, but there was enough interest, and the reservations went to 58.4, which is 27% up. Now you see the treatment on independent on 2 dimensions, which is chain hotels the percentage increase was much lower, but independents, the percentage increase is much higher. So now, if you were to design a campaign to sell the service, you would target independents with independent hotels or with the new design. And that is where the output would come. So this is what we are getting out of experimentation here. Various examples on experimentation, how many companies use it, how important is it, eBay, Amazon, Google, Booking, they run thousands of experiments in a year. Amazon, actually, they started experiments on putting credit card offers on shopping cart, and they have something called as a what they call as a pay box, or which is one of their key drivers of revenue. Microsoft, again, made in Bing, they made millions of dollars. So their small impact of almost 1%, revenue went up to 18 million. Publix and Kroger were two grocery stores, right? They improved their revenues compared to competition by better understanding how the customer reacts to advertising. We had an example on Rialto Police Department where, if policemen, sorry for the spelling, is shoulder, right, not soldiers. If they have a camera on the shoulder of a policeman, it reduces the offense and the crime rates from the defendants, which means both the things go down, right? So the crime rates go down, so the use of force from the petrol officer goes down, and also the complaints received against the petrol officer go down. They did the same thing in Cambridge, but they did not conduct the experiment. And so you were not really sure what metric was going down in relation to what other. Another example I took from outside. This is an outside example as I searched, browsed the net, and this is about one of the fashion retailers, Misguided. They used experimentation. So basically, they tried an experiment on offers for unlimited free next day delivery for a year. And the result was 177% conversion uplift, which means clearly that is the need for the consumer, or that's something which attracts the consumer a lot. And they were able to increase their revenue relatively by about 33%. And this is about the online consultation company example. If you remember, somebody wanted to set up an online consultation company, and one of the factor which really came across was that there is a need for that particular service, but it was so the hypothesis was that the customers find it easy to pay for the professional service. They did interview the business professionals to understand the payment preference, but they understood that the department which makes the payment is different from the department that uses the service, and therefore there's a way so that this particular hypothesis had a rejection. So even if there is a high need for or high demand for a particular service, but online payment could not be realized, so this is a good example. In fact, I think at least I don't know about others, but for me, this really stuck out because sometimes we get carried away by the demand that is in a certain product or a project, but we tend to miss such details as to whether how the payment will happen, or is there any barrier to such a transaction. And what I've done now, maybe 2-3 slides of how A/B testing process works. This is what I picked up from what I understand. So basically, A/B testing is widely used online, and it was, I think, introduced by Amazon or one of the e-commerce retailers. Or it's at least widely applied by Amazon in their work. It's all about understanding the current scenario, forming a hypothesis. Of course, this is what we spoke about in this article, the problem, and variations and control, right? So intervention and then the control. Here you can see these two websites, and the color is different. location of different icons is different, and now you're testing A versus B. So A is your current design, B is probably the intervention or the new design. And so what really comes here is that a good way to experiment could be a constant iteration. So on one side, when you A/B test, you could have the control sample and then continuously iterate your B. So it could be B, C, D, E, different design, see the output, and whatever performs for you. So it's not a static process, but it could be a very dynamic process, and it doesn't have to be done of 3 months and 6 months. It could just be a continuous process because it is a learning method, right? So it's more progressive by nature. It would be an ideal way of conducting a test. Here is an example from Obama campaign in 2008. So what they basically did is they looked at the site from where the sign-ups were to happen, and obviously they also raised the campaign fund from here. So they tested on 6 different media, which is 3 images and 3 videos, right? So they tested this campaign, what will be most effective. And 4 different, right? You can see the 4 different button types here in red, basically 24 iterations. And even the campaign managers were interested in having a video because they loved it. The video played out on the campaign page. The output they got was this particular that you see with the Obama with the family, and the output was the result was 10 million people. And if they had gone the other route, which was their preferred route, only 7.12 million people. Right? So basically, it was about 2.88 million more people signed. Was they followed an A/B test, a very in Obama Biden campaign as well, had almost 5% uplift on this, and also the 690 million in donations from email marketing. This is how they changed in this control sample, and then they use many sequential sample interventions, and this is the one that found the best optimal result. So what one should avoid is basically starting off on the wrong foot is this key. We should not form the wrong hypothesis because you'll be solving a wrong. The duration of the test is also important. I found this online. This is basically test duration calculator, right? So you input all the factors into it, your test, and then based on the accuracy that you expect, sample you're going to run, it'll also output a kind of a time frame, a week, 2 weeks, what can be the test period. And interpreting and drawing conclusions. Here you can see, in the page where the model's face is not visible, you're seeing almost 20% preference versus maybe 60% preference on where the face is, as well as the price of the product is smaller and the price of the product is higher. And I saw another research which said that when you put larger font sizes, people tend to believe that the price is high. So that's also very psychological, feeling. And when you put a smaller font on a price tag, it tends to be seen as a smaller price or an easier, more affordable. So that's very psychological, very so people make decisions based on impressions, right? And the last point is basically about having a research culture. There's the same thing. Having an experimentation culture, research culture, innovative, and learn and fail kind of a spirit. So that also applies here. Again, more examples where conversions increased 336% just by changing the layout of the site. Here, just by changing one word, why us, why use us versus how it works. How it works is much easier for consumers to understand, and the clicks went up by 47%, right? A/B testing examples on the top, you can see how the uplift is happening and how the sites are not preferred, or the pages have lesser impact. This is the last slide from my presentation. So it's basically, it says, this is from Jeff Bezos, where they use experimentation to the core. And in fact, Amazon has used experimentation to the hilt. They say as strong a statement as success at Amazon is a function of how many experiments they do per year, per month, per week. And Amazon also talks about reducing the cost of experiment significantly, but doing many more experiments than they actually do. So it's a skill they have acquired. So that'll be all for my side. Any questions, any discussions? I'm not an authority really. I just prepared for you all, but please let's share and discuss any comments from your side.
First of all, let me tell you a very nice presentation. With a lot of more examples, the understanding was much easier. Now I have a fair idea about A/B testing. Of course, when we run through the course, we also knew about it, but more examples gave bit of more understanding. Mr. Subrat, that was really nice.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, if others have any.
Yes. Sorry guys, I'm having a little bit trouble here in my operation actually. Yeah.
Very nice.
So actually, I was thinking when Subrat was explaining these experimentation, especially, it is especially e-commerce type business. It is not a business like what Mr. Vilayath Ali is doing and what we are doing.
Correct.
And I am thinking, how is it possible that we can take some advantage, even if not 100%, but somehow we can take advantage and use it. Maybe Subrat can explain us.
Well, okay, I do not know. What kind of business you guys are into, but I think it's B2B, So we're talking about B2B situation, and well, it's random. It's a big question. I think in B2B as well, when you run, so most of the sites or the information that you have online, which is common, particularly during COVID time, is about a preference from a certain page, because there will always be a purpose, right? The purpose can be how to dissipate information or how to communicate to your customers in a more effective way when they are in the virtual space, which is maybe in whether a website or an interactive site, it's when you do not have your physical presence, whether virtually or personally, then the third place is always the website place, right? It's always the e-commerce, not the e-commerce, but the websites through which you are interacting. So I think A/B testing can be used very well, showing your customers, exposing the site to your customers, a random sample on one side saying design A and design B, and then saying what did you understand from it, or how easy was it to navigate my site, or how easy was it to understand my product features or details of that product feature, and that will have value in B2B as well, because we deal in a lot of B2B businesses as well here. So I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, so.
Still thinking, will it make sense or not? Because the problem is actually, we are in B2B, that's true, but our products or our solutions are not like, the normal people can look at it. It is just like a refinery. It's just like a petrochemical plant, and they have a procurement team. They don't look at it on our website. They just send the RFQs. Okay, this is our requirement. Tell us who can do it and how you will do it. So we will be just submitting our proposals, bid and all those things. We don't have even, kind of for testing real genuine customer that we can say it is 10 and they will take part, although 10 will not play any role in the normal testing kind of things. But those people are very professional. They have their own business. They have their own needs. They would never, even want to be part of this experimentation. They are not going to do anything for us. They will be only doing the things that what they need, and we are providing the solutions to them. So it is, bit difficult, not bit, I think it is too much difficult that we can use this technique. Yeah, we can use this technique especially to develop in-house changes. For example, um, uh, what should be, the right timing, how we can increase the productivity of your people. We can do a couple of experiments to increase the productivity of our staff. We can, maybe we can do some experimentation how we can make our product more, good looking, or the finishing is more good, the quality of work is, we can increase by doing some experimentation of, if we do manufacturing of one product with the process A, what we are getting, and if we make some changes in the process A, then the product will, how it will look like when it. So these kind of things can be done, but it is not like, the e-commerce business, and where you have, so many users, or kind of, the Facebook or Amazon, where you can really make an impact after getting the result from this experiment. You did one experiment and now you have a result. So based on this result, you are going to do something for the business. So, and that result will make a really good, either positive or negative, whatever it is, impact on your business. So it is especially where you have a large scale of, the users, a
Sure.
large scale of customers, maybe in thousands or millions. Then yes, we can do this part of things. For us, we have maybe 10, 20 regular customer. They are buying our products. We are providing them the solutions. So it might not be
So,
possible for us.
Mustafa, I think one area. For my first exposure to A/B testing, I mean, kind of A/B testing. I don't know if it's 100% a good example. Was about 8 back, and I was obviously my family is into food business, almost 1965. So we have factories in India.
Mhm.
We out of many products we make, one was tomato ketchup. So yeah, in the so this is an example outside of the e-commerce area where saw that when we wanted to test our new samples of ketchup for life test. So what we would do is we would pick up at least 20 or 30 samples from the existing line, pour them under normal conditions, which is 30 degree, 20, whatever is the ambient condition. And then we would accelerate another batch of 30, 40 samples. We would accelerate it under high heat conditions, reduces the shelf life, right? So we accelerate, we put it under condition 35, 40, 45 degree. Instead of 1 year, the shelf life shrinks to 1 month. And now we see against the control sample, what was the variation that happened between the two, and how quick, and what shelf life test of that product, right? So we are able to see, because the ambient condition is somehow controlled, or so that kind of a comparison. And I thought maybe it was a form of what we're trying to do, right? Control sample, and then put another one under an accelerated condition from the control sample. So we were maintaining many types. So I don't know if there will be applications where holding a control sample and then putting the other sample under test conditions is really A/B testing, and does it have a versatile usage of the kind, right? Unfortunately, this is not my domain. So in our domain, we feel very comfortable. This is something which, a lot of questions, right? A lot of questions in our mind.
I also agree with Mustafa, like what he said. to the extent we can do in internal, because our clientele are not on e-platform. So internal, if you want to do some testing, as you are in your case, what you explained, wherein we are doing some process when we have to do the other process and see the benefits and advantages of that process. Internally, yes, I also agree. In our own organizations, we can definitely do these experiments and try to improve the efficiency, performance, and other things. As far as clienteles are concerned, they are outside. Yes.
Sure, sure. You're right. You're right. You know, you have very educated clients, and they may not be interested, right?
That's true.
So yeah, that's why it has very wide use in e-commerce area. Actually, e-commerce is Amazon uses A/B testing, and we use with Amazon a lot of A/B testing technique, right? So we apply my experiment I created here was also. You know, you apply a certain price to a certain product and with one group of customers, and you apply another price, and you see the elasticity of demand and how the demand increases or reduces. Sometimes you see that with a higher price, the demand is even more. You know, it's surprising because we've had those kind of examples, and so you increase the price and you realize that suddenly it comes inside the basket of a consumer who was comparing the another set of products, and there was a good number of consumers who were rejecting you because your price point was too low, so they thought you're cheaper, right? So those kind of interesting outputs come out sometimes, you know, on the consumer. Yeah.
Actually, people are having some people are having this habit that if something even good but the price is low, no, will not buy it. We need high price, you know, and their perception is if the price is high, it means this thing is good.
Yes.
You know, if the price is low, it means it's not a good product. Yeah, that's true.
So I will share this presentation in the group, and
Please.
yeah. So maybe
I have another question, Subrat. How much you learn when you study this from Cambridge, and how much you learn when you develop this presentation?
I think there's a lot of learning that happens during this presentation process, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I can't forget this. I can't forget this module at least.
Yeah.
I was telling Mustafa, I think you had a call. I was telling Subrat that the examples what Mr. Subrat presented, he could get more idea about A/B testing.
Yeah.
And it is all e-platform based, like hotels, they can see how bookings can go up, the number of clicks. But it's, as Mustafa rightly said, not of our industry, unfortunately. But it's a learning.
Yes.
We don't know where we can go to implement, or what learnings can come, we don't know. So me, myself and Mustafa are in proper engineering industry. So,
but at least now we can understand, Vilayath Ali, what is happening in Amazon, what they are doing actually.
correct.
How they are playing.
Testings, with one change, they make millions of dollars. They earn out of it.
Yeah.
In my case, if you do the testing, it is only to improve internal efficiency to a certain extent.
Yes.
Financially or revenue-wise, we don't get anything.
Maybe in short term, no, but in long term, for example, if we are able to increase the efficiency of our people, so in the long run, yes, we will be benefited. If we are able to increase the quality of the product in long run, we will be benefited. But it's not kind of purely, you know, short term decision when you are selling something on Amazon or any other, you know, website, and it's you are just looking at minute things and similarly, and at the same time you are getting results.
Correct.
Okay, Subrat, and thank you for the presentation, and I would say if anyone has any question, I think otherwise we can close it.
Yes.
So no one has a question. Thank you very much. Hopefully,
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
We will
Appreciate
meet next week again. Thank
Sure.
you all. Bye bye.
Bye bye.